Can you say Madam Secretary? Sources tell NBC News that Senator Clinton is under consideration to be President-elect Obama's Secretary of State. NBC's Andrew Mitchell broke the story. She's here now with Politico's Roger Simon. It's the greatest prize you can be appointed to in American life. Some would say better than the Supreme Court. To be the person who represents the United States in the world. Is it possible? Is it plausible? Does your reporting support the possibility, since you broke the story, that Barack Obama could well select Hillary Clinton as his Secretary of State?
Yes, because it makes a lot of sense politically. You remove a rival, a potential adversary. You take her out of politics. She cannot go out in the midterm elections. She can't develop more chits with campaigning for people. You cannot do that as Secretary of State. You place her in her own territory, a confined territory, if you will, but the whole world is her landscape. But you know what she's doing. She is doing your bidding because it's very difficult as Secretary of State to go off on your own. Colin Powell discovered that. You really can't.
Andrea, my colleague, you are so political. Give me the positive reasons to pick her. Those are restraining reasons of a potential rival, if you believe she's still a rival.
She is known throughout the world. She has relationships with all of these leaders. And from her perspective, she's blocked in the Senate in so many ways.
No committee chair, no standing
committee chair, no seniority to speak of. Max Baucus has already, as finance chair, come out and said, this is my health care plan. Ted Kennedy has told her, I am here. I am well enough. I am doing health care. He's developing his own plan. He's not going anyplace anytime soon. Chris Dodd has signaled that if for some reason the ailing Ted Kennedy were not to continue with his chairmanship, that those would be the circumstances that Chris Dodd would step down from banking and take over the health agenda from Ted Kennedy. So she has no options there. She's not going to become majority leader anytime soon. These are rivals, former competitors for the presidency, Chris Dodd among them, who are not about having lost that majority leader's post by one vote some years back, going to turn it over to Hillary Clinton.
Roger, what do you see as the competition now? Because this is an appointment that has to be made the next couple of weeks. It's the key to our foreign policy, who he names. We all thought that John Kerry was the front runner. There's always Richard Holbrooke, who could be well qualified. There's Bill Richardson, who, of course, would like the job and has said so.
Chris Dodd's name is often mentioned.
So is Hillary Clinton now the front runner to be Secretary of State?
I think of those names you would have to say yes, and for the reasons that Andrea mentioned. I mean,
if she wants it.
She is a brand of her own. And let's not overlook the fact that she is actually qualified for the job. That helps.
One way we find this, sort of the Oakens razor of our business, or one of the razors, is if she doesn't want it, she will not let her name keep out there for a couple of days and be shot down, because then it looks like she wanted it, but she didn't get it. So clearly, can we assume, you're an expert, can we assume over the next several days, if Hillary's name is still up there, she wants it? Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, and I think this has come
You agree, Roger?
I think we can assume that now, because the two things are happening. The Obama campaign is not throwing cold water on Andrea's story.
Well, neither is
she. Neither
Hillary Clinton.
Is Senator Clinton. You know, about a month ago, her name surfaced as a possible Supreme Court appointee should Obama win, and Hillary Clinton immediately threw cold water on that story.
It on. But here's the brilliance of this: the fact that you've broken this story makes it so glistening as a great news story. It stands up, because if it weren't true that she's serious consideration, then it would be in the interest of the Barack people to shoot it down quickly, because that would mean they'd be stuck with their second choice if they didn't get her. If she didn't get picked, it would make it look like she'd been turned down again, not just for president and vice president, but now for Secretary of State. It's in the interest of both to get the truth out if the truth helps both of them. Apparently they want this nomination to be considered.
But the timing is not perfect from his perspective. He did not want this out now. He wants to wait and develop his entire national security team. I worked on this, but he
so
really
you found traitors in the midst?
No, but he wants to have a team. He wants to have a team to unveil together, which you would do: defense and state and national security and the intelligence posts. And he's not ready with that yet. He doesn't want to be unveiling this before the summit. He wants to have all of this on the back burner until after the summit this weekend. He doesn't want foreign leaders wanting to meet prospective appointees. My feeling is that she would not have gotten on the plane to go to Chicago and met with him.
To be vetted.
To be vetted if she weren't interested. And I don't think he would have called her there.
I love this in politics, because there's no reason for her to be a contestant for a position A, she doesn't want, or B, she thinks there's a heavy likelihood she'd be rejected for.
Right. But there's also, we don't...
But by the way, can we have some fun? This is hardball. Let's look at some of the things that were said by Obama, the selector, about the possible selectee in the late, great presidential primary fight. Here they are.
Senator Clinton's been running around telling people that our entire campaign, according to her, is only based on the fact that I gave a speech in opposition to the war in Iraq from the start. That is the only basis of my campaign, and that, on the other hand, she has supposedly all this vast foreign policy experience. Now, I have to say, when it came to making the most important foreign policy decision of our generation, the decision to invade Iraq, Senator Clinton got it wrong.
Here's a tougher one. This one, next one's even better. This is another shot directly at Hillary for her vote on Iraq.
I don't know what all that experience got her, because I have enough experience to know that if you have a national intelligence estimate and the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee says, you should read this, this is why I'm voting against the war, that you should probably read it.
And here's how he responded to her infamous 3 o'clock in the morning ad knocking him. Here's his response to that baby.
Besides the decision to invade Iraq, we're still waiting to hear Senator Clinton tell us what precise foreign policy experience that she is claiming that makes her prepared to answer that phone call at 3 in the morning.
Sticking with the story now, because clearly those weren't the nastiest shots in the world. They were sarcastic. They were shots. They were not put-away shots.
They were shots both sides. But let me tell you what he also said on May 22nd, when he referred to Doris Kearns Goodwin, our friend's book, Team of Rivals, and he said, Lincoln basically pulled in all the people who had been running against him into his cabinet because whatever personal feelings there were, the issue was, how can we get this country through this time of crisis? That's what he really
he's already picked one rival, Biden, a minor rival. Now you think he might, well, your reporting says he will, consider picking her his major rival and bring them into one big tent.
What we don't know yet is what Hillary Clinton is demanding to take the job.
Well, let me tell you one thing that she might be demanding. The right to pick all the ambassadors. She won't get that, because those are the plums that go to the winning side, most of them. Number two, can she pick assistant secretaries, undersecretaries? If she gets to pick all them, she can create a political army over there. Would he let her do that, Andrea?
I don't know that. She certainly would want to have her
extraordinary power.
But she would also want to know, what is Joe Biden's running room? And how much foreign policy is he going to do? And frankly, by choosing Ron Klain to be his chief of staff, he's sending the signal that he wants to work on legislation, he wants to work on domestic issues. This is Al Gore's former chief of staff. He wants to get into the nuts and bolts of making things happen. And I don't think he's going to be such a competitor on foreign policy. The other thing that...
Oh, wait a minute. He won't want to be or couldn't compete?
I think he's choosing not to be. I think that is the deal we're going to learn.
He's domestic.
Cut. That he will be more domestic, and that he will let a Secretary of State, a grown-up, be Secretary of State. I also think it's very interesting that John McCain is coming to this meeting, that Barack Obama is inviting John McCain.
Do you think, now that we're into the very rich material here, do you think there's a chance that John McCain would accept a position and leave the U.S. Senate?
I would find that really surprising, but I do think that what I've been told is Barack Obama wants to work with McCain as a partner in the Senate on things like global warming, climate change, immigration.
Based upon your reporting, can a person walk away from this program tonight with the assumption that there's a good chance that this is for real, that she could get this job? There's a good chance.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, that's another big news story. I didn't think there'd be any news this week to compete with last week. But if those two get together, sitting around the table and on the phone at night, figuring out together between these two very competitive people how to place America in the role, how to settle the Middle East, how to settle Kashmir, how to settle Darfur.
That's the key. She wants to know what kind of access she's going to have to Barack Obama.
Yeah.
The vice president gets the weekly lunch. She wants to know if she gets, chai latte with him every Thursday. If you don't have access to the president, guaranteed access, it doesn't matter how high you rank in the
Does she get to name major people within her department that he can have as checks on her? Like George Bush did to Colin Powell.
And some of his advisors are very much against this.
Right. You know why they would be against it? Because she would be against letting him pick someone like John Bolton to work and keep his eye on her.
Nobody is going to get an in.
You're smiling, but they wouldn't they would want that, and she would not allow that, because she's as smart as anybody in this business about bureaucracy. Andrea Mitchell, congratulations.
Thank you.
We want her to get the job just so you'll be completely right here, not just be right about the lead. Anyway, not just the possibility, but the fruition.